Vikram Khanna didn't just build a company, he built an empire. But every empire has its cracks, hidden behind gold-leafed doors and silent hallways. For years, the mansion stood as a symbol of power, but tonight it would become a tomb. The invitations were hand-delivered, a private dinner to celebrate a new milestone. But as the guests arrived, the air was heavy with unspoken words. Old friends, trusted partners, and family, all gathered under one roof, each carrying a secret. Shalini, the devoted wife; Mahesh, the ambitious partner; Ritesh, the lifelong friend; Lata, the loyal chef; and Aman, the quiet nephew who lived in his uncle's shadow. They stepped inside, shaking off the rain, unaware that one of them would never leave. Dinner was served at 8. The conversation was polite, almost too polite. Vikram sat at the head of the table, presiding over his court with a confident smile. He spoke of legacy and the future, oblivious to the eyes watching him. Under the table, hands were trembling. In the shadows, glances were exchanged. To an outsider, it was a celebratory feast. To those at the table, it was a countdown. Every laugh felt forced. Every toast felt like a final goodbye. To family and friends, Vikram announced, his voice booming. The only things that truly matter in the end. He took a long sip, his eyes meeting Aman's for a brief second. Then he sat back down, satisfied. The silence that followed was deafening. Vikram's glass slipped from his fingers, hitting the floor with a sharp crack. He gasped, his body jolting before he collapsed forward, his forehead striking the table. The empire had fallen. Chaos erupted. Shalini's screams echoed through the halls. Mahesh checked for a pulse, but his hands were shaking too much. Lata dropped a tray of glasses. Only Aman remained in his seat, his eyes wide, fixed on his uncle's still form. Inspector Kabir Mehta didn't rush. He walked through the mansion as if he were part of the architecture. He noted the position of the body, the placement of the chairs, and the fear in the room. He knew that in a house this size, the truth was often buried deep. Poison, he whispered, more to himself than anyone else. Quick, efficient, and deeply personal. He looked at the 5 people before him. One of them was a killer. The others were simply lucky. For now. Kabir, Mrs. Khanna, you were the first to scream. Did you see anything odd before the dessert was served? Shalini, nothing. We were talking about the summer house. He was so happy. Why would anyone do this? Kabir noted the lack of real tears in her eyes. Kabir, Mahesh, the company was struggling. Vikram wanted to sell, didn't he? Mahesh, it was a disagreement, Inspector, not a motive. I needed him alive to sign the merger. Mahesh's voice cracked. He was hiding something, but was it murder? Kabir, Ritesh, 40 years is a long time for a friendship or a resentment. Ritesh, we were brothers. I loved him. Kabir, and yet you never became a partner. You stayed a guest. Ritesh looked away, his jaw tightening. The bitterness was palpable. Kabir, Lata, you prepared everything alone? Lata, yes, sir. From the starter to the mousse, no one entered the kitchen. Kabir, then how did only one glass become a weapon? Lata had no answer. Her hands wouldn't stop trembling. Kabir, Aman, you've been remarkably still. Most people would be pacing. Aman, I'm just in shock, Inspector. Uncle Vikram was everything to me. Kabir, he was also your employer and your gatekeeper. Aman didn't blink. He just kept watching the rain. Part 4. A strange detail. The forensics were clear. The poison was a concentrated heart medication. It wouldn't have tasted like anything in the chocolate, but it left a trace. Kabir found a napkin tucked under the edge of the table, a napkin with a brown, oily stain. While the guests waited, Kabir searched the study. He didn't look for gold, he looked for paper. He found a recent update to the will and something else, a medical report. Vikram wasn't sick, but someone else in the house was. Someone with access to heart medication. Kabir, let's go over it one last time. Shalini left for a call. Mahesh for a smoke. Ritesh to wash his hands. Lata was in the kitchen. Each of you created a window of opportunity, but each of you also created an alibi. He paused, looking at Aman. Kabir, and you, Aman, you never moved. You stayed at the table, the perfect witness, or so it seemed. Aman, I didn't do anything, Inspector. I was right here the whole time. Kabir, Exactly. That was your first mistake. The room grew cold. Kabir, I know how you did it, Aman, and I know why. Aman, you have no proof. Kabir, I have this napkin, and I have the vial I found in your room. He held up the evidence. You didn't need to leave the table to commit the crime. Kabir, it was a simple sleight of hand. While Vikram was distracted by Shalini's phone call, a call you probably triggered, you leaned in. You didn't pour the poison, you squeezed it from this napkin. A few drops of your own medication was all it took. Kabir, the will was going to be changed again. You were being cut out, weren't you? Aman, I did everything for him. I was his shadow, and he was going to throw me away like a broken tool. I earned that money. I deserved this life. The confession hung in the air like smoke. Aman was taken away, but the weight of his words remained. He wasn't a monster born of malice, but of neglect. Shalini cried for real now, but whether for her husband or for the nephew she never truly knew, no one could say. Kabir watched them all with a weary eye. Kabir, Aman was the one who acted tonight, but he wasn't the only one with a secret. This house is full of them. He looked at Mahesh and Ritesh. Sometimes the real danger isn't the one who strikes. It's the one who waits for the storm to clear. The guest who stayed too quiet was gone, but the silence he left behind was louder than ever. The mystery of Vikram Khanna was solved, but the secrets of the mansion would remain, buried in the walls, waiting for the next dinner party. Because in the end, it's never the fingerprints that catch a killer. It's the one small detail they thought nobody would notice. The one quiet moment they thought was their own. The mystery was over, but the truth was just beginning.